What is your win-loss ceiling and floor for next fall if they keep almost all of the roster intact and manage to find a reasonable game manager quarterback in the portal? Can they make the playoffs? How deep of a playoff run are they capable of? I'll let you start on that one.
I'm not even going to necessarily say they need a quarterback because certainly I'm personally tantalized by the idea of Alex Orji if they decide to utilize him like Jalen Milroe, and he's obviously got that experience in the for a month of bowl prep. So I think that if you can keep everyone and then just identify, wherever you feel like you have some holes, I think that wide receiver is kind of the bigger one. If you can go and get one or two receivers that can help be more of those outside guys, try to find a speedster like a Roman Wilson that's a taller guy that can stretch the field, try to find a more of a possession receiver like Cornelius Johnson. I think Cornelius was really underrated. A lot of those times you saw like Michigan on 3rd and long and Cornelius is making a catch right at the sticks. And, it might not be in, when the game's 0-0, but certainly he was doing it when the game was on the line. Finding some guys like that, I think if they can do that, and it's obviously going to depend on what names become available in the spring, if they're able to keep the bulk of the roster at that point, I don't see any reason why they can't make the playoff. But yes, the schedule is hard, but you have most of your hard games at home. Ohio State's on the road, obviously, but Texas loses some defensive pieces. They lose a couple offensive pieces like Xavier Worthy, what's his name, Addison. I can't remember his name. The wide receiver that transferred in from Georgia that they had. Really good. Yeah. So like they've still got a quarterback, and they've got some pieces, and obviously their defensive front has been good, but they lose some of those guys as well. They can come to Ann Arbor. That's a hard trip to make in season. Michigan's gonna be able to give them their best shot, I think. And the other games you look at are Oregon and Ohio State. If you can get one or two of those, I think that you could even you could lose 2 and win 1 and get into these playoffs depending on how you lose. Because keeping in mind that it's a 12-team situation now, I certainly could see them getting there, winning 1. Maybe the team coalesces and maybe they're able to win 1 more. Certainly I don't think this is going to be a team that repeats. You just lose not just talent, but you lose a lot of leadership. And you just hope that a lot of those guys train that next group to take up that mantle similarly. But I won't know until I think we see it. But I certainly think that this could be a team that goes to the playoff and certainly has that potential to win 1, maybe 2 games.
Yeah, I don't love putting ceilings on teams because if you win 1 playoff game, you could win 2, right? And on and on from there. I remember going into 2021, everyone was like, 8 wins at most. Not everyone. I don't know if I don't think you were one of those people, but people were saying that. It's like, well, if you can beat a couple of those, if you can win a couple of those toss-up type of games, like at Wisconsin that year, that sort of thing, well, then you can win at Penn State. Like it's just tough to cap it. So I know that's kind of a cop-out because everyone loves to go on record and say, here's the floor, here's the ceiling. But I don't know that there is a ceiling. I don't know that they need a quarterback either. I do think it would be great to bring one in, at least for competition. But I agree with you on Alex Orji. Really, if you're not going to have the high-level receivers, then he's definitely your best option, in my opinion, if you go with the guys on the roster, because him running an effective offense isn't going to be dependent solely on the pass game because he is such a dynamic athlete. And the Jalen Milroe comparison is not just one you brought up. It's not just one that Jim Harbaugh brought up. It's not just, the role he was playing with the scout team leading up to the Rose Bowl, but he told me after the Rose Bowl as well, before the national championship game, that he was watching Milroe all season long and kind of envisioning what that could look like. So I think that is exciting. Milroe turned into a pretty decent passer. We'll see where Orji is with that in his development, but I think Michigan can make the playoff next year either way. I also think that they could struggle and they could lose, 4 or 5 games if things broke a certain way as well. So again, it's not a hot take, but that's just kind of where I sit here on February 12th. Blue Thunder.
Before you continue, I predicted them to go 10-2 because I did while on vacation, I did a series of listicles that could go. So I predicted them to go 10-2. Granted, you don't want to know who one of those 2 is, but that's what I predicted them to do this year, and I think that's fully possible. But yeah, 7-5 is also on the table. We just have no idea.
You think they could get in the playoff with 3 losses with this schedule?
Yeah, if if they find themselves in a similar situation to, like, say, the 2016 team that lost 3 games by, I don't know, one was postseason, lost 3 games by a total of 5 points. I would find the committee led by our collective boy, Ward Manuel. I think they would find it really difficult to keep them out in that point.
It's a good point for sure. And even losing 3 games with how tough of this schedule of a schedule that Michigan has, it still means you had some pretty quality wins in there as well. Blue Thunder 24 wonders, is Clayton Sayfie on the fence about joining the Chargers beat? Would be a huge loss for Michigan if we lose another one. Appreciate that. No man knows the future, Isaiah, but it would be kind of funny if Harbaugh just started plucking reporters out of Ann Arbor too.
Well, you'd be one of them. It's you told me that you were staying, and I'm pretty sure you told a lot of the other coaches and players that you were staying. So bye, Clayton. This has been an absolute pleasure working with you, and I'll talk to you when I also join the Chargers beat.
Yeah, I'm sure most of the players are waiting around, as to what I will be doing next season. But no, I plan to cover the Michigan Wolverines in 2024. That's all I got to say.
Yeah, planning, definitely planning.
That's right. We got a super chat here. Go Blue 982. Am I wrong to think Orji is going to be more Denard-like if he is quarterback? Honestly, I don't care about another national championship. I just want to keep whipping Ohio State. That is fair. Like, look, the expectations and the goals at Michigan always start with beating Ohio State, winning the Big Ten. Then, of course, you want to compete for and win the national championship. But, yeah, I mean, to beat Ohio State this year, I think would be a pretty good win given what they have, what that team's going to look like, and what Michigan lost from this past season. But I think he could be Denard-like, obviously more power, maybe not as much speed in the open field. I mean, you remember some of those Denard runs, like the 87-yarder against Notre Dame and all that. But I think you could build an offense similarly around him. And I think that, I don't know exactly who it would be. I don't know. You don't have Ravens guys on the offensive side, but you kind of think of Lamar Jackson and what they did maybe pre-2023. I think that's something that you could look at too, the way they built that thing.
Yeah, he's got a cannon too. Don't forget, we saw him make that long pass to Samaj Morgan in the spring game, and obviously, if you sit and watch any pregame warmups, he's got it. I mean, it's not Joe Milton, but in a good way and a bad way, right? Like, he's not going to necessarily throw a 90-yard bomb, but he's also going to throw with a little bit of touch. So I really like that capability that he has. Yeah, and I agree with you. I don't think he's necessarily going to get in the open field and be off to the races in a similar way. We've seen him get caught, but Milroe isn't that either. It's keeping in mind, unlike Denard, who he's not a diminutive guy, but he was more of a track guy. And, I know Orji did that in high school and all, but he's built now like a linebacker. It's a different style of running, and it's less getting into the open field and then he's off to the races, and good luck taking him down because he is bigger than you at the quarterback position.